Yes, Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our lunch webinar, which will focus today on the real estate market in Dubai. This market offers extremely attractive opportunities, and the number of people, inclusive Swiss nationals, who are buying vacation homes, apartments, or houses is steadily increasing. But Dubai offers additionally numerous opportunities for investors. That's why we, as Zurich Sotheby's International Realty, joined forces with our brand affiliates in Dubai, Lux Habitat Sotheby's International Realty, to present you in depth the different sides of that attractive topic. Actually, Chris Whitehead, managing partner of Lux Habitat Sotheby's International Realty in Dubai, will present you the opportunities for private clients and investors as well. You have the option to write your questions right into the chat, and we will answer them right after the presentation of Chris. Chris, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. I just wanted to start off and just say thank you, first of all, just to Zurich and to Andreas, just for arranging this platform today. I think it's very important that these webinars and these meetings go on just so that everybody's aware of what's happening, in each other's regions. So thank you for arranging that today. I am conscious of everybody's time. There's a few names that I've seen drop onto the meeting that I know, and you know me well, and I like to talk, but today I would try and keep that down to the structure of what we intend to do. So I think, first of all, there's two subjects that we wanted to talk about today to give you more of an insight, one of them being the holiday home avenue in terms of for investors within the region, within Dubai. And then more following that, I wanted to talk just maybe for 10, 15 minutes, just about the benefits to investors and actually also the end users that are moving into Dubai at the moment. So before we do that, I think it's important to give you just a few minutes, an overview of Dubai and how we are recovering, from the pandemic and the situation as it is right now. I'm aware over there that you are still not fully past the pandemic in terms of lockdown of business, but Dubai is a very, very different story right now. We went into lockdown probably only for 1 month. So businesses stopped in Dubai 2019 March, and then we came out very quickly, which was around about April. 2020 was reasonably a soft year for us as Dubai and us within the real estate sector. But from January 21 this year, we have seen exponential growth within the real estate market. So I really hope and pray that the same rebound is going to come back to the rest of the world and, hopefully to your region. Just to give you a few numbers just on what's been happening. In short, it's super positive. Real estate for us has increased by around 400% in terms of the demand and the transactions and the revenues. In terms of the economy, we've had an exponential growth. We've seen 300,000 new residents to Dubai since January. Also, since January, we've seen an 85% increase in tourism. Also, Dubai Airport, so Dubai International Airport, has just been announced actually yesterday as now the busiest airport within the globe. So Dubai is really moving strongly. We are, in terms of a bubble, ranked at the moment, I think on the UBS report, we're probably about 43. So it's not being seen as a bubble boom at the moment. It is seen as a sustainability. And really the main reason that we believe that Dubai is so investable right now and the demand is so high, because there's been such a heavy impact of the pandemic in the West and within Europe and within the region, pretty much, all around those areas. Dubai has come out of it very low. Our cases of COVID, probably less than 10 people per day. We're not having deaths. We have around 85% of Dubai is now vaccinated. We're still walking around in face masks. It's been very, very well managed. And I think because the rest of the world is still struggling to deal with the way forwards, what's happening in Dubai is it's really attracting people to come in due to the safety of the pandemic and where it is at the moment. Real estate as a whole in Dubai is always in demand. People like to invest in Dubai because it is very easy to invest in Dubai. Obviously, the few reasons that you're all very aware of, it is tax-free. There is no hidden taxes. There's no income tax. So what you earn goes into your pocket. What you make as a business goes into your pocket as well. So this is extremely favorable. The country is open to any citizen of any country. So Dubai, you can pretty much as an investor or an end user just arrive in Dubai. We can get a visa for you within about a week, and you can live here for the rest of your life if you wanted to suffer the weather for that long. So things are good. Population, as I said, has increased very heavily. I think we went from 2.9 million up to 3.2 million since January. So this is really, you know, a driving factor. We have around about 32 nationalities, which tend to be within Dubai. And really, just to give you a little bit of a macro, if you don't understand Dubai, the region itself is 90% expat. So only 10% of Dubai's region and of the UAE, which is around 9 million residents, only 10% is actually Emirati or local born people from the region. The rest of the country and the rest of the region is literally just, you know, expats that have flown in and really come into Dubai, and they've made that their home and they've stayed there. So that sort of gives you an overview of where we are. Let me move on to a little bit about what the holiday businesses are doing at the moment and why there's such a demand for that right now. So holiday homes in Dubai are very much in demand right now. The reason being is there's a major shortage in hotels. We've seen this year approximately 25 million visitors to Dubai since January. Of those 25 million visitors, there's only actually 128,000 available hotel keys. So only 128,000 rooms, suites, etc. The pandemic has also pushed people away from that hotel lifestyle when they come to Dubai. A lot more of the people that are visiting Dubai, especially with the expo, they're looking for apartments and they're looking for villas. People want to try and keep themselves a little bit more safer in terms of exposure to, you know, the public. That's why one of the reasons the holiday home business has really grown. Another reason why holiday homes has grown so much is because the demand is so high in the region. Hotels have put their prices up 5 times in the last 5 months, and each month they've doubled the cost of hotel keys. So, you know, whereby myself, maybe I'd spend a weekend, you know, at the Four Seasons, which we generally do, we were paying around probably $1,000 a night to stay, you know, within the Four Seasons. You're now looking at $5,000. So the prices have really rocketed up, and because of that reason, the holiday home business has really started to thrive and really grown within the region. The main reason investors are coming in and buying properties that they're using for holiday homes is obviously the yields. The yields at the moment for holiday homes, you're looking at probably around about 10 to 12% return. And occupancy at the moment is 100%. If you had a similar property that you owned in Dubai and you put onto a long-term investment as an annual leased property, you're probably looking at 5 to 7% return. As I said, with holiday homes, you're looking at over 10%. So it's really attractive to people right now. One of the other main benefits of holiday and short-term investments is that exit and entry is a lot simpler. The way that the laws work in Dubai, once you rent a property on a long-term basis to a tenant, the way it works is they really are guaranteed occupancy for 2 years. The market at the moment, when you're trying to sell a property in Dubai, I'm not sure what it's like in your region, but if you try and sell a property in Dubai and it's tenanted, it's very difficult to do that. Investors and buyers don't historically want to take on existing tenants in properties. They want to take properties on a vacant level. So the benefit of having short-term properties and short-term investments is as soon as the market is obviously at the optimum, when the clients want to exit the property investments, they can literally exit the tenants within the properties. You can relocate them to another property, and then you can sell very quickly. It generally takes around a week to 4 weeks to sell a property in Dubai. So the process is super fast. So the demand is high. The supply of hotel rooms is very low, which is obviously, you know, as I said, driving the short-term investments into Dubai. And, you know, it's a case of flexibility as well. A lot of investors like to come to Dubai and use the properties as well. So with that short-term option, you can come and use your property. Obviously, as you know, you can lease it for 6-7 months of the year. You can probably achieve in 6-7 months around about 7-8% tax-free return. And then you can use the property for yourself and family and exit when the time is right. The Expo of Dubai is now underway, which we launched probably about 4 weeks ago. So this has been very, very good for the holiday home market, because most of the people that are visiting the Expo are not coming for 1 week. They're generally coming to Dubai for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. And, you know, economically, it makes more sense for those people to take short-term homes. So it is very good if you are looking to invest, if you're talking to investors. The short-term market is very strong, and we would very confidently be happy to assist your clients to find the properties and then help them work with the short-term companies. Just one last thing from me regarding the short-term. As Sotheby's in Dubai, so myself, my partner, we own the region, so we own the whole Sotheby's franchise for the UAE. We specialize within luxury primary sales and secondary sales. We don't actually offer a short-term business model from Sotheby's, because for me, we know luxury sales and we like to keep with what we know best. But we have a company in Dubai that we're partnered with. Their name is Maison Privé. So if anybody's taking notes, Maison Privé. They are almost a sister company to us. So if you're looking with your clients or yourself to invest in a short-term property, we would help you find the right property, because we understand, you know, the ideal asset. Then we would hand you over to Maison Privé, which is our partner company, and then they would take care of the hotel leasing holiday home process. That means that they would assist in terms of managing the property for the investor. They would obviously dress the property, so they would furnish and dress, get everything ready for the short-term market. They would then manage the whole booking process. So your investor would literally hand the property over to the short-term company. They would do all the bookings, all the management. Your investors are not dealing with checking in and checking out, and, you know, all of the, you know, all the problems that do come with short-term, as we know. They would take care of everything from the fees that the investor would make, which is around 10 to 12%. The short-term leasing company would take a percentage of that profit. It's around about 20 to 25% of the profit. So it's very hands-free. It's not something that an investor needs to be involved in on a day-to-day basis. They can come in, we can manage the property, hand it over, and then, of course, when your client or yourself is ready to exit that investment, we would take the property back from the short-term company, and then we would put it back onto market and find the new buyers. Hopefully, I've covered most of the questions that are going to come up, but I will pass you back now to Andreas, and then any questions you have, I can answer them for you.
Thank you at that time, Chris, for these amazing insights. And I hope that the audience which joined us today had some worth fulfilling time spent. Before we start to bring up questions and hopefully also answers, remarks on the following procedure. We have, as Andreas said in the beginning, recorded the session, and we will send all the participants this recording with a link, so you can then hear it again and make you some specific notes. A second remark, if you wish, of course, animated now on the insights of Chris to connect with Lux Habitat, Sotheby's International Realty, we as Zurich Sotheby's International Realty would be more than happy to make you the direct link. So we are in contact with you, join us, and we will hand you over to Chris, who will give you the, as you say, the white glove service and give you then the details which are asked. Maybe to start with a first question, Chris, Dubai is known as, let's say, exclusive, fantastic holiday destination, etc. If I have a home there and maybe live there for a month, 2 months, etc., can you describe me if there is exists a normal day, a so-called normal day in Dubai? Is there some, or do I have to go from one fancy place to another, jump into my Ferrari and play golf, or is there something, a normal life? Tell us.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair and intriguing question. I mean, everybody sees Dubai as the golden city, and it is true. Some of our police cars are Bugatti Veyrons, and you know, it's all a tourism play. I mean, what you have to remember about Dubai is Dubai's economy is based on tourism and pretty much not anything else. So Dubai moved across to tourism probably about 18 years ago. And, you know, everybody felt that Dubai was always an oil driven economy, but it never really was. It was always a trading economy, and that's really what it was based on. But 18 years ago, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed made the decision to change the way that Dubai really is and acts as a region, and entered into, you know, the tourism. So it is very touristy, Dubai, but there is a normal life. I mean, I've been here myself personally for 22 years. My children have grown up in Dubai from school, you know, all the way through to university. They're actually about 24 years of age, so a little bit older. So they've experienced life all the way through. Yeah, I mean, some of us drive Ferraris around, but you know, normal life is probably as much as it is the same for you there, or probably, you know, I'm from London in the UK, and I would say it's very similar, but we get a lot more benefits. So, you know, the weather obviously is fantastic for 7-8 months of the year. It hasn't rained probably for the best part of 3 years. You know, daylight hours are extremely longer than the rest of the world. So you seem to have a better vibe and a better mood and a better feeling because the region, you know, generates that. The fact that, you know, Dubai has been built around that expat community as well. So schools are very simple. Everything is in British. So everything is in all the street signs. The main language is English. Even down to, you know, if you work with different businesses, even if they're local and Emirati businesses, everybody transacts in English, everybody writes in English. So it's very simple. But, you know, a normal day is, you know, we have maids and drivers. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I couldn't tell you the last time I washed a car or, you know, went shopping. Somebody does these things for us. But in general, you know, life's pretty normal. I mean, you socialize with your friends, you know, it's all the same. It's nice at the weekends because you've got a beach and you've got beautiful destinations to spend your weekend time and your evening time. And yeah, it's a good place to live. And, you know, no tax, huge benefit. The fact that there's no crime. I mean, crime is literally zero. I couldn't tell you the last time I've locked my car or locked my house, because you don't. People are not really worried about things like that. And, you know, normal socializing, yes, you can go out and you can eat in 5-star hotels and restaurants, and you can have that culinary experience. But, you know, if you don't want to do that and you want to go to Nando's, you can do that. Or if you want to do your shopping and buy your furniture in IKEA, you can do that as well. So it's very much normal living. But if you want those extravagance, it's on tap and it's very available if you need it or like it.
Thanks, Chris. I have 2 other questions to introduce, and it leads us over a bit to the topic of for which is interesting for investors. The first one is is there a minimum, and what is it the minimum of investment required to enter the Dubai real estate market as a private investor? And maybe to join the second question as well, does Swiss banks, maybe you know this, give credits for investments in Dubai?
Okay, so to answer the first question, there is not a minimum entry in Dubai. The way it works in Dubai is if you live in Dubai, what you can do is you would probably be working for a company, for an organization. If you worked for a company, that company would provide your visa. So all the time you're in employment, you have an automatic visa to be in the country. So what this means is you don't need to invest any money at all in Dubai. As long as you've got employment in Dubai, then it's very simple. You can live here without any investment. If you wanted to live in Dubai and not actually work for a company as an employee, if you buy a property for a minimum investment, which is you're looking at $300,000, probably $360,000. You can then take a visa, which is called an investment visa, and it's just renewed every 2 years. And that means you can live in Dubai, your children can go to school, you can buy cars, you can eat food, and life is normal. So there's other options as well. I mean, some investors come to Dubai, they're not going to work for a company. They don't actually come to Dubai because they want to invest in Dubai. They're coming because they want the health benefits or they want the schooling benefits. So those people can actually set up a company and you can then sponsor yourself within your company. And the cost is it's very small, probably $10,000. So in answer to the overall question, there is no minimum investment. And really, it's just a case of what you want Dubai to be for you as an investor, or whether you're an end user, or whether it's a lifestyle choice. You know, whatever it may be, it's accommodated. Dubai was always a little bit more difficult in the past just to come and be in Dubai. But in the last 2 years, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed really understood the future of Dubai, that he needs to make it less of a transient region. And he understood that people really are coming more for long-term living and for, you know, maybe even retirement. And they changed all of the visa rules, all of the ownership laws. So pretty much anybody can come into Dubai. And something else which is probably worth mentioning to you on the call now, it's very limited AML and very limited KYC. So you can pretty much move money from anywhere in the world. Obviously, as you know, as long as it's clean, you can move money from anywhere in the world. There is no heavy red tape, no protocol. There's no income tax or revenue tax on that. If you bring money into Dubai, you invest in a property and you build, or you keep a property and exit after 2 or 3 years. Again, there's no tax implications in the region. In your own country, I don't know, it's different for different countries, but within Dubai, there isn't anything of that sort. In terms of the answer for credit for Swiss banks, I believe, I mean, some of the European banks that we are working with are giving credit in terms of financing credit, but further than that, I'm not really best placed to answer that question, so I don't know.
Another question. Okay, thanks, Chris. Are there very, let's say, high locations, sections to buying apartments in Dubai? Are there different districts maybe, or what would you suggest if I'm an investor and ask you where, Chris, would you invest actually now in Dubai?
Okay, good question. So, I mean, in terms of would you invest in Dubai, I own a real estate company, so the answer is yes, of course. I mean, yes, 100% invest in Dubai right now, because the growth plans of Dubai, what's happening, and because of the wealth shift coming out of the region of Europe and the West into Dubai at the moment is so strong, and I don't see Europe improving short term. There's a huge lifestyle change of people over the age, I believe, of 40 and 50 right now that are looking to change their lifestyle, because I think the pandemic has really changed the way people are thinking about, you know, life. I think also the way that businesses have changed over the pandemic, that so many more businesses are not bricks and mortar and they're now remote businesses. So many people are looking to change headquarters. I mean, we've seen, I mean, as I said, 25 million visitors into Dubai since January. I mean, it's such a big number. The investment into Dubai is $5 billion over the next 5 years, which is on healthcare, schooling, and infrastructure. So as everybody knows, you know, within real estate, these are real driving factors that, you know, really push the economy forwards. We have a huge undersupply right now. They cannot build quick enough. We generally are experiencing 150 buyers a day that register on my website alone. We've just launched recently a project about 4 months ago, which is a luxury branded residence, which is the Royal Atlantis on the Palm Jumeirah. We've just completed 1.5 billion dirhams of sales in 5 months. So I think that gives you a signal of really what's going on within the region as well. And the yields are high. I mean, you know, you're looking at, you know, even on a long term between 5 and 8%. And another thing that I would sort of point out to investors is this is not a bubble market. The clients that are buying, I mean, we've sold around 6 to 7 billion, probably about $2.5 billion in residential real estate in the last 9 months. We have not had one single buyer buying with finance. And that really, really gives a signal of the future, because as we know, you know, these finance buyers is really the risk in any economy when, you know, when things, you know, start to bubble out. So for us, I mean, we're very confident. If you're looking at investments, we always say, you know, location, location, location. So our advice is always stick to the beach. So beach is always going to be your primary focus for residential investments. Residential investments, we generally say, look for a ticket size probably around $1 million to $2 million, because that level of the market is the most transactable. It's a lot easier to exit if you feel that, you know, you want to exit your investment or you want to come out sooner than you anticipated on your investment plan. It's a lot easier to exit properties around $2 million than, of course, it is if you're in 10 million, 15 million ticket prices. So apartments is probably our biggest advice as an investor, which is an overseas investor, because they're more hands-free. You have different options. You can leave them vacant. They're not going to be a problem. They don't need heavy maintenance because the developers will maintain them within your service fees. And also then you have the option, you can short-term your asset. So you can give it to a management company. You can long-term lease your asset, which, one thing to add for investors, the way that the structure of leasing is in Dubai, you actually take the leasing income in one payment annually each year. So you can buy a property, lease it, and you get basically one check, one transfer to your account, and then you're hands-free for 12 months. The way the law is structured and the way that the tenancy regulation is, the tenants actually have to look after the property maintenance. So you don't really have to do a great deal. So if you're buying a property which is soon to hand over, then you're very hands-free, probably for about 5 years. And because in Dubai, we don't have, you know, central heating systems, and we just have AC, that's it. I mean, even hot water, we don't really have hot water systems because the water's so hot that comes out the ground anyway. So they're very hands-free. The projects are always within communities, so we only advise to take properties that are within a master plan development, so that you have security, swimming pools, gyms, you know, all of the services that you would need. So it's very, very attractive right now, very attractive. And I would say that if you invested now today, within the next 6 months, you'll be looking at least a 10 to 15% return, because the market is that buoyant. If you look to exit that quickly, providing you enter quickly and you obviously are advised and buy the right investment right now.
Thanks for that. At that point, sounds terrific. I have 2 other questions for you, Chris. If you were doing an investment, that's the question, over 1.2 million AED, you are getting an investment visa, obviously, but only for 7 years. What is happening after 7 years? This would be the first question. The second question, if you make an investment in occurrence in a holiday house, do you also buy the land on which it stands, or lease from the state, as in most Middle East countries where land is not for sale? These are the two next questions.
Okay.
So the first about, yeah.
Okay, sure, understood. So the first question, that the information on 7 years is not entirely correct. So the minimum investment you need to make to have a visa, which means you could live in Dubai, is $1 million dirhams, so 1 million dirhams. Once you have that visa is actually renewed yearly. So every single year, the visa keeps renewing. The cost of that renewal is approximately about probably about $2,000, so around about 8,000 dirhams. So you're looking around $2,000, and each year it just automatically renews, and you just pay a fee. It happens online, and a new visa is issued for you. But if an investor was looking to have a visa more for the usage that they wanted something longer term, we would generally advise them to set up a company, which is a smaller cost. It then means that when you buy the property, you can buy the property in the company name. That means that then you can register the property offshore, which then keeps the property out of the Sharia law. So we have something here called Sharia law because of it's a Muslim region. So if there was a death of the owner of the property, the way that the structure of the property is distributed, it's not automatic in the sense that if it was a husband and a wife, it would automatically go to the wife or go to the husband. Because of the law of Sharia, it means that the distribution of the property actually is, I think 50% would go to the partner, and then the rest of the 50% actually goes to your children or to your next of kin. So the way that we advise people to do that is we advise them set up a company, which we will do that for you. We have a company that will set up through our lawyers. The cost is very low. You can then buy the property in that company name if you wish to do so. And then you can take visas on your own company. And the visas work out every 2 years. And it's a little bit more cost effective. But you know, in both scenarios, it works. And even if you don't want to set up a company and you're one of those investors that wants to buy in your own name, again, it's not a problem. I actually buy all my own property in my name, and we actually basically have mirrored wills. So we have our wills in the region are actually mirrored from Dubai, and then they're mirrored back in your home country. So your estate is actually distributed based on what your will says back at home. So there's many ways of doing it. It's not complicated. You don't have to have a local sponsor. In terms of the second question, which was regarding what you actually own when you buy your property. So if you buy in an apartment building, you're buying freehold. So you actually own your apartment, but of course you wouldn't own the land that the building sits on, because that's owned by, you know, the master developer. So you do own your property. You have an official title deed, which is a land registry deed, which is something that you hold personally. It's registered in the Dubai government and with the authorities. And it's the same as in Europe, in UK, it's a title deed. So you have a land registration title deed. So it's exactly the same in Dubai. If you buy a property which is a villa, so actually, you know, a standalone villa, and it sits on its own plot, which most times it would, with a boundary with your garden and your swimming pool, you own the whole land freehold and everything on that land. So 100% you own your property. So similar to many regions. There is one community in Dubai which has a leasehold ownership. We don't work on that project and we stay away from that project. So I want my investors, and you know, our investors all become our friends and family in the long term, and we want to make sure that, you know, people investing in Dubai 100% own what they buy. But it's very safe. I mean, my portfolio is fully owned by me. I've owned it, you know, over the period and built it up over the course of 20 years. The company Sotheby's, we own 100%. And you know, it's very simple. I think one of the problems with Dubai, the rest of the world is not fully educated well enough on the rules and regulations of Dubai, and they just see it as a Middle Eastern country, and along comes with that problems, and it doesn't. It's very simple, it's very easy, and it's a very simple process to buy, sell, invest, providing you use the right people to do that. It's very important that the vehicle and the companies that you use, because you can always make bad investments even in Dubai. You can be given the wrong device as much as any region. But if you're with the right company, and especially obviously myself and my brokers and my team, we pride ourselves in ensuring that when our investors invest, they make money, they don't lose money. It's very important.
Okay, thanks for that. One more question which just came in. How much is the extra cost when they're buying an apartment?
Okay, sure. So in Dubai, if you buy a villa or you buy within an apartment complex, we have something called a service fee. So it could be referred to as a maintenance fee or service fee. Your service fee is based on the cost of the master project of the development. But you're generally looking at, an average on an apartment, you're looking at 18 dirhams per square foot of the property size. So if you look at it's very low, I mean, you're talking a few dollars. And your average apartment, if you bought, for example, a 2-bedroom apartment, you would be looking at approximately 1,500 square feet. And then your service fee would be, let's say, 20 dirhams a square foot based on that. So if you look at the cost of that versus what the revenue could be on the property, it's probably less than about 9% of your anticipated return on the property. It's super low. If you buy on a villa community, it's probably less than, per square foot, it's less than 50 cents. It's very, very low. So it's the cost of a pint of milk, so a gallon of milk. So not that I've bought milk recently, so I don't know. It's very low. It's probably about less than 1% of your actual annual revenue that you could make on the property. So, and obviously for that cost, it includes, for example, your security of the building, the master maintenance of the building, swimming pool maintenance. All properties come with swimming pools, gyms, tennis courts, restaurants. It includes everything. And Dubai is very, very green. So for those that have not been to Dubai, I mean, we have 24 of the most championship golf courses in Dubai. The main streets, everything is very green. It's very beautifully landscaped. And all of your service fees cover all of these costs, in terms of your property as well. And this also includes things like waste management. So your recycling, your waste is emptied 3 to 4 times a week. So Dubai, you will never find rubbish. It's very clean and it's a very tidy place to live in.
Okay, thanks for that. A last question just before we end up this round.
Yes.
Somebody wants to know if Palm Jumeirah villa are overpriced due to high demand. So it's a suggestion and a question.
Okay, Christian. Yeah, so Christian, who's asked the question, is well educated on what's happening on the Palm Jumeirah at the moment. And Christian, you are 100% correct, which is why we're not pushing investors to really purchase within the Palm Jumeirah, unless it's an apartments. Apartments is a different game. The villas is like cryptocurrency. There's 2,400 villas there. Their initial cost was $500,000 to buy one of these villas. At the moment, they're trading at about $3.6 million. Wow. They have doubled in price. Literally doubled in price from $1.8 million to $3.6 million since January of this year. And the reason for this is because everybody wants to live on the Palm. Everybody wants a Palm villa because, you've got your own private beach. I mean, your own private garden, private beach. And they just get traded like crypto. I mean, they really do. The people that are buying there are buying purely to speculate. Dubai is not regulated in terms of a price increase, and all the villas are identical. So what happens is somebody sells their villa tomorrow for $2 million. The person next door says, my villa's one more up the front. They put it on for 2.2. It's not regulated. The whole front goes up to 2.2 that next day, and so on and so forth. And in addition, because the demand is so high right now, a lot of sellers that weren't looking at selling are putting their magic number out there. They don't really want to sell. They're just seeing if they get it. And based on the demand, they're getting it. And what's happening? Everybody else puts their price up. So just to give you a quick understanding of that, I've bought and sold my own Palm Villa 6 times in 12 years. So that gives you an idea what it is. So I've actually got 4 for the price of 1 now. So because I know the market, I know when to come in, I know when to come out. But at the moment, if you invest, you're very at the top of the market. Of course, every market saturates and comes down a little bit. I think they'll probably sit at that price for the next 1 or 2 years. But of course, they will come back down again, probably as hard as what they went up in the next cycle. But in terms of where they come back to, they will probably, their initial price was $500,000. That was a long, long time ago. Their holding price is probably about $1.5 million. So if you buy in now at $3 million, there's a bad chance in the next 5 years you could come somewhere back down to 1.6, 1.7. But most of the people there that are buying are all end users. They're buying in cash. So I don't think the drop is going to be hard, but it's going to come and it's going to happen. So investors, we don't advise them to buy there unless they want to play the roulette with it, you know.
Thanks, Chris. So if I understand it right, the real challenge is to find the next Palm Jumeirah, right? Not to buy in now, actually, in Palm Jumeirah.
Yes, it's called Jumeirah Bay. So anybody that's looking at the next Palm Jumeirah is called Jumeirah Bay. And also we have Palm Deira, which is next door, which has been held for the last 10 years. It will launch, and that will be a very good play for an investor, but it will be a quick short in, short out entry exit. And it will be obviously about timing as well. So.
Okay. Yes, I think we have reached the end of the session. There are maybe other questions coming up, but as I said, we will collect them. We will, as interest is showing up to us, we will make them the direct link to you, and they can discuss with you and your people, of course, in depth. Chris, thanks a lot for your time. It was, again, very, very interesting, and I see really there are a lot of opportunities. There is a big challenge also to reach out to that region. There is, as I understand, also kind of a normal life as well. So it's the whole picture is there. So thanks again, Chris. Thanks from our side as Zurich Sotheby's International Realty to the audience for your interest, and I hope you're now 1 p.m. here in Switzerland to have a good meal before you start again the working day. And thanks to everybody, and have a nice day. Thank you, and goodbye. Thanks.
Thank you to everybody, and very nice close. So thank you also to Andreas for setting things up for everybody. And yes, I'm here and I'm available, and I'm very happy to assist anybody that needs advice or assistance. And yeah, I think, as you say, enjoy your meals, and hopefully everyone has a very successful and productive day. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody. Bye, everybody.